James, better late than never, I say, and our Week 6 guest stayed a little late, I believe, on Saturday in his game. In fact, he was really good late in the game for reasons we'll discuss in a moment. So why don't you introduce him?
Yeah, we had this one pegged as our game of the week. It was a top 25 battle between Frostburg and Wesley for basically first place in the NJAC. And this senior defensive tackle, Steven Yorkman, came up with basically the game-winning field goal block to go along with 11 tackles. So we'd like to welcome him in the huddle. Steven, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys doing today?
We're good. I'm enjoying the fact that this is apparently the official signal for a field goal block and the other things that James has gotten down over there. So don't mind my co-host, but Steven, your team has definitely bounced back since week 1. But first, let's look at the Frostburg game itself. Wesley had a nice lead there. Frostburg tries to come back and everything. Was there ever a point that you felt like your team was kind of losing control of the game and somebody needed to step up, especially defensively, like yourself?
No. When games like that get kind of close, we've been in situations like those before. Like my past 4 years, I've been in tougher situations than that. So you just kind of just take every play by play, and you do what you can for the team.
So Steven, and tell us about when the overtime period started. Obviously you guys had a chance for the field goal, and the offense converts that. And then, in college football, as everybody knows, you get the ball on the 25-yard line. It doesn't give the defense a lot of room to work with. Kind of walk us through that final series and how it turned up that you were able to get your hand up to make the block there.
Honestly, I can't tell you how I honestly blocked the field goal. It was just like I just put my hand up and it hit my hand. But defensively wise, we always practice red zone situations. It's something that we go over practice almost daily. So it was just something that we practiced and been in. And so when the time came, we were ready to execute, and it put us in a good situation to make the field goal block.
After the Del Val loss, I'm assuming that Coach Dress kind of told your team, obviously his season's not over by any stretch of the imagination, but things needed to change. What did he say, especially on the defensive side, needed to change after that game that has seemed to kick in at this point to get you guys back into really almost a driver's seat? I mean, Salisbury will have something to say about it, obviously, later in the season, and obviously you got to win your games out, but you were kind of in a control of your own destiny scenario right now. So what did Coach Strass say needed to change defensively to get you guys to this point?
The big thing that he harps on is executing your assignment. It's not always about the effort. The effort is going to be given on both sides of the ball. Is who can limit the mistakes and execute each and every single assignment, every single down. That's what wins games, and that's what we've been focused on for a couple weeks.
Seems to be working, huh, JB?
Yeah, for sure. Again, you're in the huddle with senior defensive tackle from Wesley, Steven York. And Steven, you're a senior, and this upcoming weekend is homecoming against Kane, who it's been a little up and down, but is definitely a rival from your conference. Tell us what's the homecoming atmosphere like, especially for you in your final season.
It's kind of emotional. This is my last homecoming I'll ever get to play at Wesley's field, and Kane brings a really big challenge for us to have a really physical, dominant offensive line and a really good running back. Last year he ran for over 1,000 yards. They bring a challenge to us, but with the homecoming atmosphere, it's just a very lively game that I'm excited to play in.
Tell folks about yourself. I was just going to say, tell folks about your background a little bit, as we come to homecoming, where you came from, why Wesley, and everything else. Tell us a little bit about the Steven Yorkman story, easy for me to say today, but, introduce yourself so that people out there might want to make this video viral. A lot of people fall in love with the stories we hear with the different people we've had on the show, so go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm from Prince George's County, Bowie, Maryland. I come from a kind of a blue-collar atmosphere. My dad is a very hard worker, and my mom's a probation officer down in Washington D.C. working with youth. And my dad, he works as a manager at a paint company called Sherman and Williams. But as growing up, he always taught me to work hard, and that hard work always pays off. That's something that I've always harped on and I looked up to, and he got me to where I am today. I've always been playing sports. I've always been the smallest guy or whatever. But he always taught me that with hard work and motor that you can do anything and accomplish anything. And that's basically where I'm from and who I am, a guy who doesn't quit.
5'11", 255, and you're always the smallest man. There's something a little wrong when a 5'9", 170-ish guy hears that. I hate to tell you. Right. That would be me, obviously. But that's a great story. But, okay, you're from Maryland, so you decide to go to Delaware. Is there a little bit, Salisbury's coming up on the schedule later on, obviously. Maybe they should have taken a chance on a player like you. So why did you end up on that side of the border?
Wesley was just a great fit for me coming out of school. I'm coming out of high school. I didn't have the best grades nor the greatest offers coming out. Then a guy named Coach Kane came to my school and introduced Wesley to me. I went to Wesley and saw the campus, and I fell in love with it. I talked to Coach Drass, and Coach Drass said something to me that kind of stuck with me. I told him what my career goal was to be a physical therapist, and he told me that that you need, in order to become a physical therapist, nothing less than having a C or lower is not going to cut it. You have to strive for excellence. And so when he told me that, it kind of stuck with me that this coach really is about his business, and he wants his players to strive for excellence and nothing better than excellence. And so I found that not only was he concerned about winning games, but also his players' careers as a whole. That's why I decided to come to Wesley.
That could be like a recruiting video right there. Coach Drash should cut that and send it around because that was awesome. JB, what you got?
Yeah, that's the why D3, right? I mean, it's as prolific as Wesley has been, and you guys obviously are kind of a perennial playoff team and national title contender. I mean, the reality is that there's only going to be so many guys who get a chance to play at the next level. I know one of your former quarterbacks is helping the Green Bay Packers, and you probably have a few other friends out there. But you mentioned the size of Kane's offensive line, the running back. But what I think makes them a challenge, and be curious to get your thoughts on this, Stephen. They have a quarterback who has a great modern day last name of App. There's an app for that. Charles App is a senior just like yourself. He's really mobile, strong arm, but also strong legs. Does anything change for you guys preparation wise when you're going to be playing against a really athletic quarterback like him, or is it just to stick to the game plan? It doesn't really matter, the physical attributes of the team you're playing. It's just all about executing, like you said.
And Steven, just one thing. You don't have to laugh at our bad jokes. I just want you to know that right now. In the background, he gave a little chuckle, James. I want you to know, but you're not required to on this show. Don't worry. But go ahead and answer this question.
But no, we don't prepare for anybody any differently. We stick to what we're going to do as a defense, and we go in and execute our assignment. No matter who you go against, they can be the biggest, the fastest, or whatever. If you execute your assignment every single play, you'll come out with a win, and that's what we harp on. Asking assignments.
I have a funny feeling the answer to my next question will include a couple of people that you discussed a little bit earlier in your kind of self-introduction. At this point in the interview, we like to give the opportunity for shout-outs to our player guests especially. And the floor is yours. Now, listen, we've had some interesting numbers generated on our videos over the last few weeks. Joe Germanario is around 3,000 views. John Smith last week, about 2,700, 2,800 views of his video, a lot of shares of it. So we're going to tell anybody that you give a shout out to, they need to go share it on Facebook or Twitter or whatever else and get you well above those numbers, because you may be smaller on the field, you feel, but we're going to make you big in everybody's hearts at the very least here. So
that's right.
It's time for shout outs. Take as long as you want. The floor is yours. Stephen Yorkman.
I only have a few people to shout out. My mom and my dad and my little sister, my girlfriend Alicia, and my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. That's it.
Alicia, you know, I sure hope you took good care of him after that 11 tackle block field goal performance on Saturday versus Frostburg, a team that was very high in my rankings, but you guys have displaced them in my rankings to this point. I didn't knock them down nearly as far as other people did on their ballots, just because, look, it was a virtual tie, that game, and they are a good team. I think we can all agree on that. But Wesley is back after a week one trip. You know, they've sensed the urgency to win every game since, and it continues, and that's a credit to you as much as anybody else on your team. So congratulations on getting this far, and good luck against Kane this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. And JB, we'll have our normal recap segment coming up in a little bit as well, so people will want to check Facebook for that coming up later on. In the meantime, enjoy your day and share this video. Share it, folks. Come on. Get him up to 5,000 views. Let's break these records here at this point. Talk to you folks later.